Hey guys, it's Collector West, and in today's video, I'm gonna go over my local LCS, my Nexus night that was last night on Tuesday over here in my area, and talk about my matchups and the decks I went against, and the better understanding I have of not only just the decks themselves, what to watch out for when you're playing just your own whatever leader, whatever legend you're playing, and then why these decks are strong to begin with, and how to prepare for them. Let's get into it. Okay, so I'm running a Viktor deck right now. Okay, so I came late to the game, just about maybe 2 weeks out from the actual release. So I didn't pre-order. I got into a couple of structure decks and I had a couple of big hits in my structure decks, which was great. Um, I'm running um, mostly yellow Viktor, but I'm leaning into the blue Viktor as well for particular matchups. Just in the decision of yellow Viktor, you want to play aggressive and go big. Blue Viktor is more of holding not because you can't go big, but your smaller units, your Raven Blooms and stuff like that. Playing Blue Victor, getting the proc from playing spells on your opponent's turn, and then getting a token that's ready to go is awesome when you're going back on your turn, ready to like punch in hard, ready to push in hard. So the first deck I played against, it wasn't Sett, it was Annie. So let's go to Annie. Shout outs to Riftbound GG. I love we talked about this last video. So Annie, why is Annie good? It says at the end of the turn, she readies 2 runes. So she can pretty much exhaust all her resources, keep some reaction cards in hand, and then at the end of her turn, whatever she has, right? You don't know if she has anything. If you're not counting cards, looking at what she has, you can only have 3 of. She can bring up 2 runes, and she's like a mini Sona in a way, right? And so that's a super, super strong ability. Then that it doesn't exhaust either. So she gets to do it every single time. Whereas, that's technically all legends can do that, but some of them just like this is such a strong ability. You think there would have been a tap required, or something that she would have to pay for to be able to do that. And that's okay. So what is it? This is an Annie deck. One of the big things that I ran into as a Victor was this night when I played, I won, lost two, and what the biggest problem was is simple cards like stack the deck. So as they play stack the deck, it says look at the top 3 cards of your main deck, put one into your hand, recycle the rest. Right. So you are looking at what your next play is. Remember, I told you that the importance of this game is based around drawing cards. You need to draw cards. Your battlefields need to support you drawing cards. Yes, it's going to support your opponent, but the idea is that you're going to get into your cards and get into your play line first before your opponent is. And so Annie wants to aggro hard. She wants to get in. She wants to force you to pay attention to the scoreboard, because as she does that, she's already up 4 points and maybe you only have one, and you're like, yo, she's only 4 points away. She could score that in the next 2 rounds maybe, and I could be done for. So it starts to turn you off from your gameplay, or you setting up your plan, whatever you're doing. So as a Victor, I am looking to put out minions, and I'm not going in strong yet. I'm looking for some things to die, looking to just pester and maybe hold if I get a chance before I build up my minion count and either drop something big. Like I'm running a Darius. I'm running 2 Darius. I may take him out. I may keep him in. I'm running 2 Watchers. I'm running two Crow Patrons just for some big boy units because I need to have something. I run 2 Grand Stratagems. I run 1 Singularity. Um, and as I do this, but that's not going to come till like my mid game. So Annie's good about being able to just to press in immediately. Where's the card? It is a Sneaky Deckhand. So you can see right here, you may play me to an open battlefield. Immediately they're putting points on the board. You get it, get 1, 3, I'm in. That turn 2, if they go turn 2, right? So they get to go on turn 2. They tap 3, they're in. That's a point immediately. And then they do it again, right? And so like I'm preparing just to take my units that were exhausted and turn them into active, right? And then move them in there. But there's already a 2 unit sitting on the board. Super strong, right? So they're super strong early game, and then they have to make up for it mid game or late game, depending if you can get there. And if they have the right cards in their hand, they'll snowball. It's the same thing in league. You have champions in league who snowball. If they can get kills on Summoner's Rift, if they can get kills on the Rift, right, and you're already getting their assassin or something like that, they become super strong. They'll outpace everybody else, not allowing anybody else to catch up. Meaning that if the game gets late, then they're in trouble. But if they can keep it to early game to mid game, maybe a 20 to 25 minute game on Summoner's Rift, you are crushing. You're going to feel like unstoppable. But if it doesn't turn around like that, and we start to get past the mid game into a late game situation, you're in trouble. And so I just couldn't. The first round, I kept up. We played against a couple of gusts, right? So the returning unit to the three of us to the owner's hand. So I pay all my resources. My card is in there. They push it back. Okay, I was going for a point there, which sucks because that means that the resources that I used to go against this specific deck, I've lost that, and all they have to do is pay one. And it says here it's a reaction, so they get to pay. You just get to do that, and this is early in it, so this is you can see the early game of how strong that is to keep you off the battlefield and continue to push in with sneaky deckhand, get another one, sneaky deckhand, get another one. Let's say you have two gusts. Okay, push them off, push them off. I hold. I'm already at 4 points. 4 points. Turn three. Turn three. It could be turn 3 to 4. You could have 4 or 5 points because you push in turn two, you get one. Then turn three, you do another one, right? So then turn four, you have, if you're going second, you're on turn four, you're able to gust them out, then you hold, you get a point, you push them with another deckhand, you get a point, you have gust. Just that alone, just those cards alone can get you almost to 4 to 5 points, turn 4 to 5, right? So you're almost getting a point and holding that every time. Every time, at least turning around to keep your opponent off. And she gets to, like I said, she gets to take up those runes again, right? So she gets to play on your turn, which is super strong. Super strong. If you can play on your opponent's turn, this is why Blue Victor is important, because the idea of being able to ready yourself and then to press in on your opponent's turn when you have resources is good, because it makes your opponent's play feel like, man, I just wasted cards. If you can waste cards, if you can waste resources and allow Annie to spend whatever, right? And maybe she doesn't have the resources to play any cards. That's great. That's how you're going to win that game. Either she either draws a perfect draw, she's able to just to press in super fast, and then you have to start making plays, and the plays you didn't want to make are now they're going to be compromised because you're setting it up, you're setting your base up to push in real hard. Victor, you want to put a whole bunch of minions on the field, a whole bunch of tokens. You get more tokens, then you get a unit, exhaust a rune, you get a scout, exhaust a rune, get a sentry, draw a card, stuff like that. And so you can see how playing around this, she's strong at first, but Victor will catch up if she doesn't make the big plays or she can't do anything about it. But there's still always the idea of that she can just have two runes come back up. There you go. This is super strong. So yeah. So anyways, Gust is good. Stack the deck is super good. These are just one costs, and they don't cost any recycle, which is amazing. Sneaky deckhand. You should be running this in your Annie deck. I don't know why you wouldn't be. You just immediately move in, get a point. Immediately move in, get a point. And you start to play the mind game of, well, I'm about to get more points and move on. And then everything is pretty much standard here. Cards, Falling Star, Void Seeker, stuff like that. Big card in here, I think, is actually super good. And I think this is not in, is this in the side deck? Yeah, this looks like this isn't in the side deck. Is this side deck? Wait, I don't know. I don't know if that's in the side deck. That line, no, it's not. It's in the regular deck. Is a Vayne. Vayne is super good. Sorry about that. Vayne is super good because of her assault. And what will happen is they'll play Vayne, push her out 4-5. You have nothing to contest, and then what they'll do is they will rebuke, remove a unit from the battlefield to its owner hand. So they'll rebuke their own Vayne, take it back. You can ride the wind. You can move it from a battlefield, right? So you can go here and then you can move it. So the play on the battlefield doesn't work anymore. And it resolves, and you're like, okay, I'm no longer there at this battlefield. You can, what is it? I don't see the card in here. Fight or flight. Yep, here it is. Move a unit from the battlefield to its base. So then you can just say, hey, I'm going to move her back to my base to protect her. So like you can do all those things, which is super good. And that's just how, and these are low cost spells, and they don't have a recycle cost. Big recycles. Victor has a problem recycling. And so cards that have that, they make big plays, but they also there's a risk reward with it. So yeah, I really think Vayne is super great in this deck. Everything else is standard. You run your Kaisas, you got your Darius, your Annie, yada, yada, yada. You see that here. But the idea is to press hard with Annie quick and fast, get in, get those points, make your opponent have to start dealing with the issue when they're not prepared to, or they're looking to set up their board. And by the time they get their board set up, they're either going to have to make a play, and it's going to work out, or they're going to lose the game. And so, yeah, let's move over to Ahri. I played an Ahri. Ahri works really well against Viktor, and so I lost 2-0. That's okay. Learned so much. Big cards in Ahri, things to look out for are Defy. So counter a spell that costs no more than 4. Well, Viktor wants to run Hidden Blade and Cold the Weak and what is it, Smoke Screen, stuff like that, right? So you just run 3 Defies. You have to, obviously this recycle. It's a powerful card for sure. And hey, it's done. You mess up that play. I had to exhaust. I had to recycle a rune. So Hidden Blade, Cold the Weak, and Smokescreen all have to recycle a rune. And so I lose 1, pay 2. I didn't get anything off of it. Nothing died. And what is it? And then I've lost that out, and then I'm now down to 2 Hidden Blades, or 3 Cold the Weeks, or 3 or 2 Cold the Weeks and 2 Smoke Screens. Yada yada yada. You see that there. And then what is it? They have a great with Retreat. Retreat is an awesome card. Charm, move an enemy unit. So if I have Viktor in base, he charmed my Viktor to come onto the battlefield and forced me into a showdown, which I wasn't prepared for, and I didn't have the resources. You see how that works? Low cost spells that are like they should be they should be so critical in the actual matchup against anybody, because they don't cost. It's 87 cents and 24 cents. Defy is 87 cents and Charm is 24 cents. Look how strong that is for it's a 2, but if you have a seal, let's say if you played a seal, I doubt you'll play seals in here, I'm not sure. You could play seal, the seal could pay for it, right? Like in Victor, I have seals to pay for all my recycle costs. Yes, it takes up spots. And it could be, you could move it out as well, and it's okay to not have seals, and it's okay to have them. They're really really good cards, and so but you play charm, you just charm it in, charm it in. So now I've lost my champion unit ability. I'm ready to take out that card I just put exhausted. It's gone. I'm running out of cards, right? And then you continue to hold, and whenever a unit attacks, Ari's champion ability or legend ability is it gets -1. So as it gets -1, then you'll have Ahri here. Where's green Ahri? Is she in here? Yeah, she is. So if you hold, you score a point. So the idea is to hold, bring out your sprite mother as well. Sprite mother, bring in the temporary sprite with he's a 3. Bring him in, push for 6, hold. If Ari's on there, then you get 2 points. You see how that happens? And then if you're even lucky to do it, this deck is the only deck that can use time warp efficiently, even though all decks can that use blue. Um, but then you have Ahri pushing in, you get 2 points. You bring in Tasty Folk, Fey Folk. He comes in and it says when he channels when he dies, 2 runes exhausted and draw 1 card. So you're gonna get more resources for that time warp. Then you're gonna get what is it? Then you're also gonna draw a card. And so then you can even Zonya's that. You can come in with your Thousand Tail Watcher. Do you see how the presence of pushing both lanes, and then she can efficiently, if you can run time warp on turn 4, you can win the game. So you push in, you're at 4, you're holding both because you're able to hold both. You're able to defy anything that comes up. Um, you can do discipline, which is a great card. It's a 2. You get +2, draw 1. Like, come on, man. I think Ahri is incredibly strong. Um, you have a wind wall in here. If you're not going to pay for a defy, you got another way to counter spells. It's a 3 cost with the 2 recycle. It's pretty hefty there, but if you need it, it's there. You have stupefy to draw into more cards, into more counter spell, and then unchecked power. I'll exhaust all friendly units, deal 12. So you're 12 damage to all units. You're damaging everything on the battlefield. Amazing, amazing. And then you sit here. Ravenbloom is going to be great, best 2 drop, because you're playing so many spells that Ravenbloom is going to hold. And if he holds on your opponent's turn, he gets +1 every time you play a spell. So he's going to be a 2-3, 2-4, 2-5, making these big plays. I can't get past him. Then we have counterspell, windwall. We have defy. Then we want to charm something in with our Raven Bloom, right? If we're paying something like that, and force them to showdown, they lose. Now I'm holding again. Then if somehow somebody attacks Tasty Fey Folk, then I get the exhausted 2 runes, draw 1 card. There's so many combos here. It's so good. This deck is super, super, super strong, and I wouldn't mind running Ahri myself. I don't have, obviously, Ahri at all. That's okay. But I ran into this, and it was just it was too snowbally. I couldn't get past the defies of the wind walls, and And then the Ahri getting double points when I was trying to get in, it just, I couldn't get rid of Ahri because they had to defy or win wall up. I had hidden blade, so I had to recycle. Of course, I had to pay that cost. I don't get to kill anything. Or if they win wall, and I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? And so I could see how this one's probably my toughest matchup for Viktor. And I'm playing Viktor because I think Viktor's great. I think he's awesome. I think he's actually meta. It's just figuring out how to put strategic pieces in here and maybe not going yellow Viktor in some cases, going blue Viktor. And maybe even having a seal because you're playing so many, or taking out a seal to put some other cards in there. Just if you got to figure it out. Ahri's great. You should be playing her. And last but not least, I played a Sett. Okay, and Sett, this was a game where I almost had the win both times. I lost 2-0. The issue is Sett's ability is amazing, brother. It says when a buffed unit you control would die, you pay the cost, right? And exhaust me to spend its buff and recall it, exhaust it instead, and send it to the base. This isn't a move. When you conquer, ready me. So he has to conquer to get out of his exhausted state. So if you can stay conquered, or you conquer when you come back in, I would play Hidden Blade, and I didn't know this. You play Hidden Blade. I'm gonna kill a Sett. The guy that I was running against was running. I don't know if he even had a showstopper, but he was definitely running a fortune, and a Sett brawler. Not the kingpin, or yeah. I got each buff friendly unit. He was running brawler. Um, and what is it? He would come in and he was working just solely with big units. Sett is big units mostly, and he has to recycle a lot of runes to pretty much use his buff anyways. And so if you can get him on the back foot of using those runes and recycling them, then you can win the game. But you also need to work around his legend ability, because as I was wanting to hidden blade his Sett or his fortune, he had set up. He'd spin the buff, take him off, recycle a rune. My hidden blade would resolve, meaning it would kill the unit technically in the chain. Then he would save the unit, put it back in base. He would get to draw two. So I pretty much didn't kill a unit. I pushed him off the battlefield, but that wasn't good enough because the next turn he gets to unexhaust his card, push back in for an attack, get a buff. Then when he conquers again, he gets to flip Sett back and do it all over again. And I gave him 2 cards. The only reason why I lost is because I just couldn't get rid of. I needed to work around. I needed to work around Sett's ability, and I needed to almost have double up on my spells to get rid of like using more like Cold the Weak than Hidden Blade, and really like limiting when I'm going to use Hidden Blade to force him to not be able to come back in on the next turn after a Hidden Blade happened. And if he drew 2 cards, I obviously I know that, or I can draw 2 cards. Um, I was just never in the position at that point to be able to do that. But every time I pushed him with like a grand stratagem, he couldn't do anything about it. So grand stratagem's amazing card. It's a hefty cost. It's a 6 with I think it's a 2 or 3 recycle. Everything gets +5. So I'm pushing in with minions. I pushed in last night with like 36 power, and it was he could still save a Sett or a fortune, which stinks because that's my only play this turn, and then they turn right back around, and they're all, if they're on Trifarian battlefield, they're all 2/2s, which is fine. But I need those resources to hold for the next play, unless I'm pushing it with the Darius and I make everything a 2/2. So everything that's on the same battlefield with the yellow Darius is a 2/2. Unless I have Windwalker, right? So I'm a Windwalker. Excuse me, Thousand Year Watcher is a board wipe technically. This was tough, and I never got to see Showstopper. But he would do challenge, choose a friendly unit and an enemy unit, and deal damage equal to their mights. And so he would play challenge, and that kind of got me as well. He played some hidden blades, but I mean they weren't effective mostly against me because of my smaller units. And if you hit my bigger units or anything like that, then they were just drawing me more cards. So the idea here is, I think some of these cards, some of these decks that we're playing into, you may have to play like a blue Sett where you're heavy in the blue to be able to deal with the bigger units here and recycle the cards. So you can push in with smaller units and hold. And it seems like it's not in your favor. It's just that Sett is heavy resources. So if he doesn't have the resources, he can't play. If he loses his bigger units, he's out of there. And that sounds like typical for everybody. The difference here is that when you're playing Viktor, you're building, swarming the field with smaller units. You want to draw in, and you want to put hidden cards down to be able to allow them to come in on a one cost card, and you trade immediately with whatever you got: hidden blade, coal of the week, smoke screen. And then you don't, your exchange is, so the resources for you are so little versus them. They do something big to something very small. That's great. Then your next play, you come in with big, like your 1,000 Year Watchers. Either you're running Darius, maybe you're running Leona, maybe even Shin. You're running Machine and Evangel because when he dies, he gets 3 tokens. There is a lot there, but you're learning how to use the smaller resources to make a one big resource and hit, and make the trade in where you're losing minimal. These onesie twosies where they're losing a 5 or another 5 or another 4 or a Fiora, right? And right here, once they run out of this, man, like once they're out, like they're out, and they have a recycle cost. They have to do that. And if you can just get Sett to stay, or you can get Sett to have to bait Sett into trying to save something, um, you can win the game. And I almost won twice, but it just, I couldn't. Once I learned about like Hidden Blade and how that worked against this matchup, I was already on the back foot. So that's it, guys. I had an absolute blast. The cards I pulled. Let me show you some cards I pulled. Okay, so in my last my promo pack, I didn't get anything in my Nexus night pack, but the one pack that I did get last night from winning, I pulled out of a single pack. At least for me, this was really good. We pulled uh we pulled Kaisa herself. I mean, well, this is, blue Kaisa. But we pulled Kaisa, which was great. I was super happy about that. One pack in, that's all we got last night, and that's okay. Um, and then we pulled, right behind her, we pulled Mr. Timo GG Easy himself. And brother, it was awesome. I was super stoked. Did a little short on my pack openings. So really excited about that. But anyways, guys, that is the video. If you like the video, be sure to like the video. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe. Putting out content as much as possible and talking about everything that's coming up. If you need some help building decks or talking about deck strategies or things you'd like to hear, please let me know, and I will see you in the next one.